Hey everybody, Renfail here. What is going on? Hopefully everyone is doing well here. Whatever day that you're watching this on, I am back in Guild Wars 2, taking a look around, doing some more exploration here on my character. And if you're a returning guest, you know that I recently got into this game here in late May, early June of 2023. I did play this game when it came out, but I only made it to level 25 and only for a few weeks because there was a lot of reasons which I've talked about in my first impressions video, but it was mostly just my headspace at the time. I didn't really care for it. It was a lot different than Guild Wars 1. I didn't like the way the game controlled. I didn't like, and I still am not a huge fan of the way the level progression works, in the sense that I like the story to just go. And Final Fantasy XIV did this to me in the early days, which is why I didn't like it then. But when they revamped the game in the last couple of years, where they got rid of a lot of the like grind, and you were able to just do the storyline and level up your character, I had a lot more fun doing Final Fantasy XIV. But in this case, every 10 levels or so, essentially, you get your class quest, or your main quest for the race. And then in between that, you're expected to run around the map and just fill in these spots and go clear the hearts around here, right, to get levels, and then you'll unlock your next class, which isn't called a class quest. What is it called again? It's the I'm gonna go look it up because I'm still kind of a noob. The story, like your racial story. Um, so this led me to having some discussions during live streams and coming to the realization that in a lot of ways this game is kind of like Star Wars: Old Republic with the origin stories, right? And each one of the origin stories here, each one of the race stories has essentially like three acts, which is like I'm very much grossly paraphrasing here, but it's like level 1 to 30, you're going through Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and sort of every race kind of gets funneled through until eventually you're working on the main story for the launch game or the expansions, so on and so forth, which made me want to do this video because as I started getting deeper into this character, I was like, well, this is my, elf character. I want to turn around and create one of those Asura, I think is what they're called, and have an elementalist that levels through. And then because I'm on my Steam account, because I wanted to play with the controller, so I started a Steam account version of it. Um, I only have a couple of character slots available, and then I was like, I need more character slots, which is eventually probably going to lead to me purchasing a big all-in-one. But up until that point, what I really wanted to talk about was the idea behind coming into this game in 2023 as a new player, which I am, and sort of my perspective on should you play the game in 2023. And I think that you should. This isn't really a is it worth it video, although kind of it is. It's more like, should you invest the time to play this game? If you've followed any of my content over the years as I've grown this channel, you know that the one thing that I'm always harping on is whether or not a game is going to provide me with enough content to justify either spending money or investing a lot of time into it. And I generally will look at something and say, if I'm going to get at least 40 to 50 hours out of something, I will consider that to be, worth it. And I think everyone should play a game if it's got fun gameplay and it can keep you occupied for 30, 40 hours. Playing Diablo 4 recently, it was a big purchase price for $70. And so the question I had from the beginning was, is this game, going to be worth the $70 that I played? And when I started really diving into it and going, oh, there's 200 hours of base gameplay here. Yes, it's absolutely worth it. Looking at Star Wars: Old Republic, each one of the origin stories having 25 hours of content for each one, and knowing that I'm going to be able to get from level 1 to 50 and over 25 hours of gameplay, and knowing that there are 8 origin stories to go through before I ever even get into expansion means that I get 200 hours of gameplay. Definitely should play it. It's worth it. In this case, I think the reason you should play Guild Wars 2 in 2023 largely relates to how much diversity there is in the starting areas and that level 1 to 30, that sort of acts 1, 2, and 3 for each one of the racials. Because I didn't realize this until I got into the game here in early, 23 here. So, coming in here, we've got the I don't even, what is this? The Caledon Forest, right? Very unique to this race. Very unique look, very unique feel, very unique quests. You're running around and it's all, forests and nature and helping out with all those aspects. But then if I go out here and I like log out and go to my Asura, for example, um, it's a completely different game. Like, obviously, it's still the same art style and everything else, but completely different racial elements, completely different cultural going on, completely different look and feel for this starter zone. I guess it's called the Metric Province. Is that the name of the zone? And it kind of blew me away because I think it was Mujin maybe who said this recently um, on one of my videos. He was lamenting how developers don't invest a lot of time in creating unique starting areas anymore. They just sort of funnel everybody into a single area, and that's like it. And there's reasons for that. There really is. A lot of it comes down to budgets and whether or not a game company is going to have enough of a budget to develop a unique starting zones. But I just want to look at this view right here. This is a completely different looking starter zone when compared to um, the starting area for the elves, right? And yet you still have a similar landscape in terms of having this big rectangle of areas that you're going to be able to explore. Hang on, there's an event going on somewhere over here. Let's go participate while I'm sitting here.
Married, cutie. Woo! Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying here. Breeze Rider. Let's complete this really quick. What am I supposed to do here? What's up, everybody? Commercial break here. I got to give a shout out to our guild champions. It's the highest tier membership here on YouTube. We got Ancient Entity, Crazy as Relative, and Remy D. Thanks so much for your support. And of course, to all of the members here on YouTube, thanks for keeping me on the air full time. If you do like what you see and hear on my channel, don't forget to not only like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, but please support. Consider me your Netflix, your Hulu, your Disney Plus, or HBO, whatever you want to call it. You can do memberships here on the channel starting at $3 a month. And of course, anytime you see me live or you watch a premiere, you can do super chats and stickers on those videos and super thanks on any upload you see, which allows me to keep doing this full time and paying the bills. So from Chris and I and all of our rescue cats, we say thank you. Let's get back to the video at hand.
Vacate these premises.
Okay, there we go. I got sidetracked, everybody. There was an event going on. I wanted to do it really quick. Starting areas, unique looking places. I think for me, not only that, but when I started diving into, the reasoning behind why a lot of companies don't develop unique starter areas anymore because of budgetary restrictions and everything else, they don't spend the type of money these days that they used to on building MMOs because the genre has shifted. So looking at Guild Wars 2, it's sort of like a look back in time into a game that is, 10 plus years old now from a previous generation when they used to develop games that were much larger in terms of starting areas and everything else. And I realized that, some games like Witcher 3 or Diablo 4 have huge, huge, huge game maps and everything else, but they're also not MMOs in the sense that like Guild Wars 2 was and is. And the depth of gameplay, I think, is what is really pulling me in and making me realize that this game needs to be a part of my repertoire because not only do I get the base, if I want to, I've at least got 2 characters on this base account that I can play through, which is going to give me arguably 50 to 60 hours of gameplay because I think I'm about 12 hours in on my other character on the hunter, and it looks like I'm probably going to get 15 to 20 hours of gameplay to finish up the first 3 acts, and then I know I'm going to get 15 to 20 hours of gameplay out of this, and then if I explore a little bit more and do some crafting and everything else, I'm looking at probably 50 hours between the two. And knowing that there are additional races that I could go play through, it's like, well, there's easily 100 hours of base gameplay to dive into before you ever even have to pick up an expansion. And considering there's no subscription or anything like that, it's like it's kind of hard to say no to this. It's kind of like, why wouldn't you want to play this game? Especially considering you have your choice between either going on a controller or mouse and keyboard. Look at that view, by the way, looking back through there. Just the look and feel of the Asura zones is so cool. I mean, it definitely feels like a science fiction environment compared to the others, which feels like a fantasy environment. I don't know because I haven't played the Char or the Nord or any of the other starters yet. Um, I just feel like Guild Wars 2 has a lot of uniqueness to it. And I haven't even dove into the crafting. And like I think Bubbalonia was telling me like this game has one of the best underwater exploration environments of any game out there because they give you like the rebreather and the underwater abilities. But like I remember I was underwater the other day and there was like this huge underwater city that was completely underwater and it was like there's this whole other level of verticality to this game where it's not just about what's above ground, but it's about what's under the water too. So not only is there the above ground stuff, the cavern stuff, and the under the mountain stuff, but there's also the underwater stuff. So there's all these levels to gameplay, and then like I'm going in here and looking at like the training, right, and all the different ways that you can skill your character through all these different points that you can get, and then the specializations and the elite specializations, and then there's the story that you go through, and then there's the achievements, and oh my god, there's the masteries, and you know all these different build things that you can do, and I just kind of got blown away crafting mounts. You know, and somebody else was telling me that when you get into mounts, like you could train your mounts and they have combat abilities and everything else. I just feel like I wasn't aware that Guild Wars 2 was as big as it is and as in-depth as it is. And it's not my main game right now. I've got lots of other things in the fire right now, but I'm kind of, getting to the point where I've done everything I need to do in Star Wars: The Republic. I've done most of what I want to do in Lord of the Rings Online, and I'm always going to play those games until they sunset because I love those games and I love those IPs. I'm really having a lot of fun with Diablo 4, but at the same time, it's like I'm always looking for something, right? Something to be like the main game that I'm going to play in between all the other games that I'm playing. And I'm looking at Guild Wars 2 right now going for, in terms of the bang for your buck, as long as the game's not sunsetting anytime soon, I'm looking at this going, I kind of feel like it's totally worth it to buy like an all-in-one pack and just unlock all the expansions. I just go nuts for like the next 6 months to a year and create a character and level it up and create game guides and everything else around this game. I'm genuinely shocked and surprised because again, I didn't really get into it when it launched, but having been playing it now for the past few weeks, I'm really having a lot of fun. Way more fun than I thought I was going to have. And I definitely think that if you're looking for, it's not free to play, but a good buy to play game that you can get, it is free to play for the base game. For some of the base stuff, but there are limitations before you upgrade. But man, I feel like this game is absolutely worth it, and you absolutely should be playing this game if you're looking for something to add to your repertoire. It has a ton of content available, a really cool art style, and it's a lot of fun. Depending on, you can play it with keyboard or mouse and keyboard or the controller. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next live stream. Don't forget our Discord. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. Happy gaming.